Thomas, welcome to Foreign Black Friday, my friend, here in the United States. Where are you going to go spend your money on today?
Actually, probably a few horse racing postcards.
Well, that'll work, right? Something.
I,
Are you getting good?
I found one that was really interesting that I never knew that they ran harness racing at Pimlico at one point many years ago. And there's a postcard related to that. I know it's completely off the subject, but it's it's one of those little things you don't know about racing that's out there. I mean, it's fascinating when you dig through some of this stuff. I mean, and the other day I was working on one postcard said it was War Admiral was on the postcard in this picture from Hialeah. Well, it turns out the saddlecloth they had on the horse, War Admiral never wore that saddlecloth. He raced there 3 times.
So it was what?
That isn't War Admiral.
So it was like a fake?
No, I think it was just it's like any other ones. It's just mislabeled. Because I find that some of the descriptions on them, obviously non-horse racing people are writing some of this stuff and they have no clue.
No idea what they're. Yeah, well, I can understand that. Sometimes I feel like the people who are in the business have no clue, right? Hopefully, we have a little.
Sometimes I feel the same way. So
yeah, that's where I was going. I said, I hope we have a clue because we're going to do Shot 10, and at the end, Tom will share his thoughts about the Japan Cup, where there will be what, Tom, like almost 1 million people. It'll be almost as much people in attendance there as there'll be at the Ohio State Michigan game today.
I would say probably the same, numbers wise. And certainly the betting numbers are going to be out of sight, as they probably going to be for the for the Michigan Ohio State game.
Maybe we should run a horse race between at halftime of every college game when there's 100,000 people in there. That would probably work. All right, so we're going to do, you and I, we're going to do Shot 10. That's in Hong Kong. And if you haven't seen the pictures of the track, you should Google it because it's pretty amazing. You have a track and then it's like the common area between a bunch of skyscrapers. So that's what it looks like.
Well, Happy Valley is much more because it's a much older track. This is relatively new. By comparison, built in early 60s. Happy Valley was built at the turn of the last century. So
long time ago.
1880s.
When Terry was born.
Yeah, when Terry was around. Kicking and live and kicking.
So the weather there is going to be really nice. So we should have a good firm track there for the betting. So good footing for everybody. That should make a good difference. We'll talk a little bit about what the track looks like at Shot 10, but let's get started on the first race you and I are going to cover, Tom. That's race number 6. That is the Chevalier Building Supplies and Engineering Handicap. In this case, Thomas, they're going to run 1,400 meters. You can see that right here. They're going to start here. They're going to come around and run backwards relative to the United States. So 1,400 meters. Oops, that's the wrong thing. We're going to start here, and they're going to come around, and they're going to finish right there, Tom. What do you think is the key to that race? Early speed, off the pace? What are you looking for?
The pace appears to be moderate in this race, moderate to good. So I think that some of the front runners may have a chance to hold on here, depending on that pace of that race. And we should point out, if you go to the Japanese, not Japanese, the Hong Kong, there you go, right there. They do list what they felt up in the middle there. They list what they think the pace is going to be in this race.
Yeah, so it says the pace right here. So it looks like where they have all the different horses. I'm not quite sure which one they figure is the front and which one's the back, though, Tom. I'm going to guess since they run this way, this is
clockwise, counterclockwise. Yeah, that would be where the front are.
Yeah, so they think the 7 and the 14. I look at this race when I went through it. I didn't see a whole lot of speed, so I kind of maybe disagree with a little bit of what they have here, but we'll see if that's indeed the case.
Well, and on here, you see the listing when they describe the races that these horses have run in. They give you an idea of what the pace was in that race, because and that does help give you some insight whether we're going to see a faster pace or a moderate pace. I think this is looks like a moderate one to me.
Yeah, it looks like good, it says. So I think it's probably going to be about average. I think it'll actually kind of borderline on slow personally. All right, Thomas. So for the first time in a couple of weeks on this Black Friday, who are we picking in the race number 6?
I'm going to start with number 10, Mr. Aladdin. It's got only 2 starts. Made up ground along the rail last time out. Looked okay. Appears to like this distance, and the pace was decent last time out. It was a fast pace. I kind of leery on the first start because it was on the all weather. May prefer this turf. I think that his speed number will improve here, and I think the draw 2 really helps his chances. And lightly raced, why not? Number 6, Super Legends, is going to be a nice choice. He's also lightly raced. Got 2 starts, but he's done a little better.
Kind of have that one as number 5.
Last time out in the first, in his first start. So he gets James McDonald, and he should be right there at the end. And I'd be very surprised if he's not, and probably going to be the favorite. 3, Endeared is going to be my final choice. Ran 6th last time out, but had issues and really did not have a clear running at the end. Previous 2 starts, he ran a 3rd and then ran a 2nd. The 3rd was at this distance. So he's a 1-run horse, and I think good enough to get past some of these horses with a moderate pace, but not good enough to be up in the front and make that first move. So that's why I'm going to pick him for 3rd.
All right, we don't agree on anything in this race, so I don't know if that's. I think between you and I, we have 7 different horses out of 7 different picks.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. So I'm going to start right here with Celtic Times, the 7 horse. You mentioned, and we talked about it, there's not a whole lot of speed. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of speed in here. So I think the Celtic Times is going to be the co-pilot. It's going to sit behind the 14 Young Horizon, and cutting back in distance today should help that horse finish off this race strong. Number 9, Sunlight Power is my second choice in here. Looking at Sunlight Power, the form for this horse is getting better and better. And this one's going to be coming really fast at the end. And unlike the 7 that benefits from shortening up, the 9 benefits from going a little bit longer today to use those late legs. Number 2, Beto is my third choice in here. Beto is another that's going to be closing really fast, and he will benefit from, I think, our good friend Charles's favorite betting angle. Looks like he's making the 3rd start after a layoff. And then finally, number 14, Young Horizon. That's the other early speed in here. It's going to be the pace setter, I feel like, Thomas. And if they go too slow, look out for Young Horizon stealing race number 6.
Well, and they got a favorable draw to get up top. So I think that will help that horse. I mean, if it had drawn way outside or something, then I would be a little more leery.
I just don't think there's a whole lot of speed in here. Just looking at it, most of these horses come from way back, minus the 2 horses I mentioned that have some pace. The 14 wants to be on the lead, and the 7 in there, Celtic Times, wants to, co-pilot, and I think that's exactly where he'll be.
And that's why I went with the lightly raced horses in here.
They got a good shot.
Yeah, I just felt like they had made more sense because of the kind of race it is. And especially they're starting to show something.
Coming to life.
Some of the older ones, you sort of have a better idea of how they're going to run, where these younger ones and these less raced ones could make it more interesting.
Well, we'll see if we can make race number 7 interesting, Thomas. Race 7 is 1,600 meters. They're going to go a little bit longer on the turf course here. That prize money, $4 million. This is a Class 1 race. Important to note that. Again, I could keep pressing the wrong one. 1,600 meters. They're going to start here. They're going to make that 1 lap, a little bit of extra distance in there, so it could favor a little bit of closers in this race. Looking at the early pace here, again, another race. They think they're going to be more forwardly placed and towards the back. So I see a lot of horses like this that want to be forwardly placed. I would look for middle to closer, something that'll be coming off the pace, Tom. Would you agree with that race setup? That's what you'd be looking for here?
Most of these horses run what I would call in slower races. I have. And of course, we're also dealing with a little better level. This is a Class 1 versus the first race we did was a Class 4. And going through the comment lines on here, most of it had been running in slower, what I would call slower races. So my approach was to take the hot horse.
Take the hot horse. All right. So who is the hot horse in your view?
Number 11, Happy Together. It's got two wins, last 2 starts. It keeps moving up in class. Speed numbers suggest everything should be able to run with this bunch. Most of these horses are coming out of good to slow paced races. And this one's been running in a little faster races. And I think that may benefit this horse. The other benefit is that it gets weight off. It is moving up. So it won at 126, it won at 128. And today it's going to be, on Sunday, I should say, it's going to be running at 115.
Yeah, 20 pounds below the one horse there, Red Lion.
That's fairly significant in my mind, especially coming off the way it's been running.
That's a huge difference, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I put it on top, and I think it really is the hot horse, being that it's just been winning and doing well. Number 1, Red Lion, is going to be my next choice. Ran second last time out and just hung on to that second spot. This one will be close to the leaders, and with that moderate to slow pace, it probably benefits this horse. And it's going to move back to a distance of 1,400 meters, which makes more sense in my mind. And this second start off the layoff, when they have their July-August layoff in late July, I should say. And nothing wrong with having a second start. Ran okay first time. Why not again? Of course, giving a lot of weight to Happy Together, and that's why I went with Happy Together on top. 5, Super Sunny Sing, my final choice. Showed nothing last time out, and when it did start to go, it just passed horses that were already finished its race and ran 6th. But I went and looked at its previous starts. Well-timed ride, it got a win. That pace will benefit this kind of horse, and I don't think it'll win, but I think it'll be up somewhere there around the money. And I think that last race we'll just dismiss as being, it wasn't interested that day.
I disagree with you. I think he got to have a chance to win, Tom, because it's my top choice there. And the reason he's my top choice there, he's run at Chatin 2 times, 2 of those times at the distance. And guess what he did in both of them, Thomas?
Ran 14th.
He won. WW, baby, at the distance, 2 for 2. Number 9 is my next choice. Is it number 9? Oh, no. Number 2 is my next choice. Looking at the previous race. Circuit Stellar. 3 seconds in a row, so it has a big case of seconditis. The last 2 of them were by just this much, just missed. And this one, unlike most of the others in here, is dropping from a group 3. So I think the drop in class, along with the added distance today, could be the difference maker for Circuit Stellar. And then the second time we're going to agree. Red Lion, Thomas, is my third choice in here. This guy's collected the check 2 in a row. It's going to be closing. And as you mentioned, not too far off the pace. And another one that should benefit from a little bit of extra one right at the end of the race today. Finally, I'm going to go with number 4, Telecom Foo Fighters. This one has a chance to be the lone speed. When he gets an easy lead, if you look through the past performances, look out. He can get that here, I feel like, today. Because as you mentioned, a lot of these other horses on the paces were slow to moderate. So if it's a slow to moderate pace and he's up front, he's proven that's his winning recipe. Next race for you and I, Thomas. Hopefully we have another winning recipe, is race number 8. So let me close all this out and we'll go to race number 8. This one is the Chevalier Car Dealership Handicap. I'm not quite sure. Is that how they say Chevy over there, Tom? I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a Chevy dealer. I'm not sure. This one, they're going to run 1,400 meters again. So they're going to go back to here, come back around that track. So shortening up a little bit. Again, let's take a quick look at what the speed map looks like. Pretty evenly matched out on here. Pace is kind of good again, Thomas. So I don't see really much in here that I disagree with. What about you?
No, I would agree. I thought it was going to be a good to maybe a little quicker than some of the other races based on this field. race and the class level too, for that matter.
Speaking of class, this one is I don't know what the class is in here. It's usually in here somewhere, but I don't. Oh, class 2. There we go.
Class 2 race. So a
Yes.
notch below the one we just did.
What's happening here, in your opinion?
I'm going to take 4, which is all a Lacrit, I guess. I don't know.
Alacrity. I think that's probably a rapper's name, right?
Well, probably. Last race had some trouble. It was blocked. Got a little space at the end and got up for second. I think that's a little better race.
I think somebody agrees with you.
Yeah. And race before, it was raced a little wide and flattened out and finished 5th. So better. It looks like it's been improving. And I really think it's the horse to beat in this race. So I'm going to put it on top. I'm going to take 3. Find My Love is my next choice. Tossed the last race. Didn't finish because a horse had a fall during the race. So it was out. And it ran a mediocre race in its season debut. But it's getting a better draw, better trip, and needs a little luck. And I think I'm going to take it because I think we're going to get a little price on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I'm going to take 6, Drum Beg Banner. First start of the season, went wire to wire. Looked nice doing it. He's one of those horses that I think the distance suits, and he won at this distance, and kind of can't complain about the way it won.
Well, I like in race number 3. I think this is another race where we're going to kind of be different across the board. So 11 horse field. Tom and I have 7 of them covered. So take the other 4, put them in an exacta trifecta box. You're guaranteed.
And you're going to nail it.
Yes. You come home with the big money. I'm going to go with Supreme Lucky. I don't remember you saying that one, so hopefully I'm not right. This one's done well at Chatin. Raced there 9 times, collected the win, 4 of those. Going to move up in class today, so that's a question and concern there. But the distance works for the horse, and this one, if you look at the fractions at the final quarter, has some of the best late fractions. So I think you're going to see this one flying at the end. Number 11. Oh, you started with this one, right? Or no? No, that was the last race.
Nope.
Superb Boy. This is another one that's taking a step up in class, Thomas. Going to carry 15 pounds later, less than the Flaming Rabbit. This one's done well at the track and distance. Tackled it twice, winning both of them. Flaming Rabbit. How can you not have a horse named Flaming Rabbit? I mean, that just creates an image, right? That's a great name. Whenever you can create a name that instantly creates an image, that's some good writing right there.
Yeah.
But Flaming, what were you going to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I appreciate that as a person who does some writing. This one's going to be on fire for sure on the front and going to cut back by 200 meters today. So cutting back after showing some speed, that's our good friend Charles, one of his favorite handicapping angles. Let's see if it can play out in Hong Kong like it does in Kentucky. And then finally, Eremo, the 7 horse, is the last choice for me in race number 8. This one showed some big improvement in the final quarter mile of its last race. That's a good work at the track and distance. 15 times, 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. So I think he could be a horse for the course. So 9, 11, 1, 7. As I mentioned, between Tom and I, 11 horses. We got 7 of them. Take the other 4 and just count your money, baby. You're gonna be well ahead of the pack.
You know what some of these Hong Kong races pay.
Yeah, but then when you convert it to dollars,
prices, and then sometimes it's absolute nuts.
But when you convert the winnings to dollars, you got like 18 cents in your pocket afterwards.
Yeah.
Race number 9.
You're losing.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, 18-cent profit is.
I take what I can get sometimes.
After some days, I can wholeheartedly share that sentiment. We got a class 3 here where they're going to run 1,600 meters. Again, they're going to start back here. They're going to come back around the track. And according to the form guide, it looks like you got 1 front runner up here in the 10, a bunch of stalkers. So you could get a pretty hot pace, and you're definitely going to keep the 10 to task. I could open up the door for a horse with a little bit of late legs. Tom, is that how you would read that race shape?
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least the way I'm looking at it, is a first move horse. Whoever makes the first move to the front, I think, is going to be the winner.
All right.
And
So who do you think that's going to be?
I'm going to take 4, Powerful Wing, my top choice. It ran its best race of the season last time out, ran 4th. And that was at this distance of 1,600 meters. And, it was a nice race because it had trouble. And it was okay. In the other races, didn't show much. So this is my angle of signs of life, and I think it's gonna hit the board on top in this race, and I think you get a little bit of a price. Number 5, Speed Dragon, is going to take my next choice. Debuted in Hong Kong its last race, ran okay, ran 5th, had some trouble, lacked room, so no, definitely needs a better trip around. Again, this came in from New Zealand where it ran okay. Obviously, they paid some money for this horse to bring it into Hong Kong. I think it's got a good chance of a big improvement in this race.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm going to take number 2, Beauty Verse, is my final choice. This has two starts at Happy Valley, and I refer to them as mediocre and very unhappy. They shifted it over to Shaten and ran a very strong second at the distance and looked a heck of a lot better. Again, we have, like anything else, there are horses that like Happy Valley and there are horses that like Shaten, and sometimes they don't like one or the other. And so I'm going to take that angle and look at it as being one that can hit the board and do well in this race.
Well, you mentioned, Tom, that some like Shatin and some don't. Again, I think we're completely different picks, so we have half the field this time around. We don't do this on purpose. I have no idea what I'm pick.
Sometimes we agree, and then we're really in trouble.
Yeah, well, we should bring a third person, and so we can get all of the horses. Anyway, race number 9 for me. I'm going to start off with the 10 horse, Chan Heng Glory. That's the name of that horse right there. You spoke about doing well at the track, and I also try to look at how they do at the track and distance. This one is 2 for 2 at Shatin at the distance and showed some late race improvement in its last. So going to have a little bit more stamina today. Flamingo Trillion. I thought it said Flaming Trillion at first, but I was going to say that really that would be the U.S. budget, Flaming Trillions. But anyway, unquestionably, this one is in form, Thomas. But unquestionably in form. But the step up for me is the class. Step up in the class is the question for me. Number 1, Woodfire, bro. That one is been off for almost a year. First up record's okay, 1 second in 2 tries. But this one's been decent at Shatin and does have a win in its only trip at the distance. And then finally, number 7, Master of Fortune. This one should be coming like a truck down a hill, no brakes, 30,000 pounds of bananas. And another that's done pretty good at the track and distance, 7 times out, 3 wins, and a second. So I'll take that record there. And 30,000 pounds of bananas. Are you familiar with that reference, Thomas?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, there's a song called 30,000 Pounds of Bananas. You should check it out. I think it's by Harry Chapin, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, finally, the last race for you and I at Shatin is going to be race number 10, the Chevalier Construction Handicap. This one, they're going to be a Class 3 race where they're going to run. How far are they going to run this one? It's funny because I know where they are and then I don't know where they are. 1,200 meters. All right, so this is going to be a short one in here today. 1,200 meters. They're going to start here, come back around the track. So I think speed probably could be a pretty big factor in this one, Tom. Looking at the form, this one's backloaded, so maybe the front runner here, the 10 horse, has a pretty good shot at taking him wire to wire. What do you think?
I do. I think that's why I'm playing it. I give number 10.
All right, there you go. I give.
And it's been moving up in class from Class 5 to Class 4, and it's been doing wire in style, so to speak, wire to wire. It's got good draw with 3, and it's got plenty of speed. So get the lead and come and catch me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, Ladies' Choice, will be next choice. Couldn't hold off the winner last time out, ran second. But it was a little wide in this race at times, and I think that probably compromised its finish. Again, season is really pretty good record. I mean, 2 wins and 2 seconds. So, I can't pass on it. I gotta think it's going to continue to run well, and that's why I put it in. And finally, I'm going to take 4. Global Harmony is my final choice. First start of the season, it was wide, but it had a nice finish. Only thing that bothered me was the speed numbers were a little bit slow. But again, the level we're at, I think that I've got to put it in, and that's why I did.
All right. So surprisingly, Thomas, after you and I completely disagree for most of the day, we come out swinging on this version here because I give as my top choice too. You just can't. It is moving up a couple of levels. So I think that's the question here, but it's going to be on the front. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And you can't argue with its last 5 races. Won 4 of them and finished 3rd in the last. Number 6, Good Buddy. That's my second choice in here. It's going to be absolutely on the other end of the track, coming from the back, but it will be running as fast at the end as I give starts at the beginning of the race. Ladies' Choice, where Tom and I agree once again, number 9. This one has a good record at the track and distance. Been tried it 5 times, got 2 seconds and 2 wins. Pretty good form right now as well. And even in the last race where it kind of missed, it was only 5th by just 1.5 lengths. So still competitive. Finally, Global Harmony, my last choice of the day. Global Harmony is another that shows some really fast last quarter fractions. But this one's going to be off the screen when the race starts, Thomas. So keep an eye out for that one at the end. I don't know that it'll have what it takes to get to the winner's circle. But I do think with that late kick, the kind of fractions that it run, it will be gobbling up a lot of ground. If it was running another 200 or 400 meters longer, it would have definitely been higher up in my picks. That wraps it up for our.
Well, you pull up the speed thing and go to Global Harmony, and for people's future reference on these, in these descriptions in the speed, you can see they give the times and the splits.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you some idea based on that the pace was good in this race, and it was 3 wide and 3 wide on the. It gives you some idea where if it's making ground. So I mean, 24 and 7 is pretty dawdly, and then you can see it really picks up.
Mm-hmm. You also see them in the PDFs here, Tom, and I'll attach these when I put the site. If you can read Chinese, is right here too. So I'm not that, but it does have it in English too. But you have the class rankings here, and also shows you their quarterly numbers right in here. So
right,
and that helps too. So that'll be available over at horseracingtoday.net a little later on in the day, because I'm going to head on over to Villa Park, Illinois, in just a little bit when we hang up here to go into a handicapping contest to see if I can finally earn my way to Las Vegas for the National Handicapping Championship. I've been the bridesmaid, I don't know, like 3-4 times where I was the next person in line. So today we're going to end that next person in line stuff. All right, Thomas.
It's only going to be 2 of you, right?
What's that?
Only 2 people in the contest, right?
Yeah, and only 2 people qualify, and I'll still finish second, but I'll be there. Now there's plenty of people. So the Japan Cup is what's next, Thomas?
Yeah.
Tell us about what's going on with this guy.
Well, it's Japan in its racing has only a few races where international horses can run in. And in the past, the Japan Cup, when it first was conceived, it was mainly foreign horses that were winning the race. Well, things have slightly changed in Japan in terms of their breeding and the level of quality of their horse. And guess who's been winning those races now?
Well, they've not only been winning races there, they've been winning races here.
Yeah. Well, this being an international one, this is one where the the international horses. I mean, Hong Kong has the same restrictions, but
Mhm.
December 10th, which we will be handicapping at Shah 10, is the international day. And I did see that in the sprint that High Fuel Princess is going to be running. So that's definitely an international horse.
Mhm.
So it gives you some idea. So,
So let's take a look at the field here, Thomas. What do you like? I honestly I couldn't find any information on this, so I don't have anything to add other than whatever Tom says. I agree with.
yeah. There's some descriptive stuff on some of like on certain sites where you can get some insight on the race.
Mhm.
But let's be honest, there's the best turf horse in the world is running here, Equinox. He wins the Shima, sets a track record. He ran last time out, set a track record. Yeah, he's good. And it's going to take a lot to beat this horse. I mean, if he has an off day, yes, he'll get beat, but he hasn't had many of those. So, and he's training like he's on
He's
fire.
got bad intentions.
Yeah, and on X or Twitter or wherever the heck you want to call it, there's a gentleman who's in Japan, and he posts the workouts and everything of of these competitors, and of course, and other races. I mean, he does lots of races, but he's been focusing, of course, on this race and watching this horse. I mean, they put it in one workout, put Equinox in the middle of two horses to work on that getting through.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the horse made it look easy. That's just amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you find one after that one, you're doing really well.
So Equinox gonna. So is this one that they're going to retire someday, Thomas, or not?
Oh, it's certainly interesting horse. I mean, I sent you an article about a horse that in Japan that was rather interesting too. An 8-year-old who's never won.
Mm-hmm.
And has 120 races run and never won a race.
I don't know about you, but when we're handicapping, I know this. It seems to me it like ebbs, like it's like a wave, right? You kind of build up, you get a little bit better, you hit a top, and you start to think, "Hey, man, I'm good at this," and then you crash. Then you kind of go through that same. I can't imagine going through like 123 races in a row and not winning any of them. I would probably be bald. Yanking
of course, we have the one in this country that ran 100 times at Finger Lakes and the Berkshires, and that was Chippy Zippy. And there's a book about her, about that horse and its exercise and futility. But in this race, I liked Liberty Island too. It's a 3-year-old. She's been running the top levels. The last horse, the 3-year-old to win this race was a filly, and it was Amanai, who also won the Shima, just like Equinox, and she was an incredible runner. If Liberty Island can run any of that kind of race, she's going to be very competitive here.
So maybe Equinox, Liberty Island.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw Title Holder in there. Last year they opt for the Arc rather than the Japan Cup, and didn't do very well. This year they're going to run here instead. I didn't catch the jockey.
On Title Holder?
Yeah.
It's Kazu Yokoyama.
Yeah, at one point they were thinking of putting getting William Buick to come in and ride. So, but that's a top jockey in Japan. So, you're not going to lose anything by that. Again, we're talking these next two horses are grade and Group 1 winners. These are not slouches by any stretch of the imagination. The final one I'm going to throw in there is one that's never won a Group 1. All
right.
And this is Deep Bond. And he's run second. He likes to run distances. It's just one of those ones that I think he's going to hit the board, and I think you're going to get a bit of a price on it. Can he finish second? Yeah, maybe. But again, this is a horse that never won a Group 1. He's 6 years old. But he's been getting, he has some interest. The Kyoto in the spring, he ran a good race, and there's no reason why he couldn't throw a good race against this group in here.
What do you think about the only non-Japanese horse in here? Irisine, the French horse for Jean-Pierre Gauvin.
I really didn't think much.
All right, so just over there for the party, eh? All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this group of horses is a really tough bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that horse, the French horse, is really run against this kind of level of horse. I mean, if it would be a huge shock to me if it wins.
Mm. So let me ask you a question, Tom. If you owned a horse and you had a big event, so like the Melbourne Cup or Royal Ascot or Japan Cup or just like some huge event around the world, would you take the horse over there if it qualified just for the sake of running in it and then like for the social part of the race, or would you only go if you had a chance to win?
I would go if I've got a chance to do well.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, there are bonuses that Japan Racing puts out. So if you win races some other in their world, you qualify, that are in their list, and they've got the list on the website. You're up for like a $4 million bonus. So to attract horses, they do offer some decent money. And Japan Racing by itself, because it's so popular in Japan, that the money is just outrageous. And which is a good thing. I wish we had that here.
I'm just thinking about it. I feel like I should be in Japan because they like horse racing. I like horse racing. They love golf. I love golf, right? So the two favorite sports in baseball.
They like baseball too.
So you and I would fit right in.
Yeah, I mean, right, and the kind of betting that goes on there is just unbelievable too. So, and that also, when we say that in the whirlpools, when Japan horses are running in the Dubai or in Europe, we'll see some kind of inflated numbers because of the amount of money coming in from Japan on these races. So it is something worth following. Certainly interesting. They do have, like here, they've got dirt racing. They have synthetic. So you get a good mix of racing, but of course, turf is the king there at this point, and certainly reflects that in terms of the money. That's because what the winner here gets $8 million, I think, for this race.
Yeah, that's a decent chunk of change for sure.
So it's not a shabby little race. But even if you finish down and that's why I say if you've got something good enough, you can pick up $250,000, $500,000 just by running your horse in the race if it finishes in a decent place. And then then you've got that bonuses if it does win, and it's one of the other races in that's a qualifier race. In that race, you're eligible for another bonus, and that's just not winning. If you play first, second, third, fourth, you get money.
Get an extra few bucks. They should do that. Well, they do that in California, and it doesn't sometimes work out there. Any ideas?
I like the spin and win type method that they use at Del Mar to start out with, and then it's now shifting to Santa Anita to attract more horses to build the fields better.
They need to.
I think that's a good incentive for trainers to bring their horses in, and why not give it a shot?
I agree. Any idea what will be where we'll be incentivized to go next weekend?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
You know, December 10th, we will. I mean, well, it won't be 10th; it will be the 8th. We will definitely be doing the International Hong Kong races, which is similar to the Japan Cup. In Hong Kong, of course, foreign horses are not allowed to run except in certain special days, and of course, it's only the best get to go there. I know that right now, Japan is sending over 16 horses, I think, for those races. So got to look at those seriously, but they're going to be. But as I said, Highfield Prince is going to be running there too, and she's certainly not a slouch. No.
Well, that'll be in 2 weeks. So to know what we're going to do next Foreign Friday,
I'll probably head to Australia. We haven't done that in a while. If not, well, we always have a shot 10 to annoy the crap out of us.
We'll figure something out. But I want to say thank you to Flor Valdez, Adams, Steve Goodrich, Jonas Chifor, Magnus Michael Princess Ayajami. I'm sorry about that. Gabrielle, I can't see. So that's probably why I'm mispronouncing everything. Gabrielle Velez and Beverly Honey Bunny Taylor. Thank you for the thumbs up on Facebook. We greatly appreciate it. If, like those very smart people, you like what you saw today, kindly hit the like button on Facebook. Retweet some of the stuff we do on X. So is it re-Xing now? I'm not sure. But you can see all of our social sites down there below. Horse Race, the number 2 day, 4X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever's out there. That's where you'll find us on our social sites. Kindly follow us there. Our good friend Swiss Army Sean does a wonderful job of putting up some great content over there. And then also, while you're here on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, only 1 out of 10 people hit the subscribe button. So make sure you're the 1, not the 9. It's always better to be the standout than the slacker. Hit that subscribe button and the bell. And another great favor you can do for us too, hit the share button. If you got friends who like horse racing, share our content with them. They'll definitely enjoy it and hopefully find a few winners in there. And then, of course, on Monday, I'll be back with Terry for Parks. On Tuesday with Parks. Maybe a little bit of change in the schedule on Wednesday and Thursday because I'll be out of town for a bit. We'll see. We'll talk about that during the week. And, of course, Sean and Lucy or Betty Joe will have some shows for us next week for Horse Center with some great guests. So looking forward to all that. Any final thoughts, Tom, before you and I get out of here on this Black Friday version of
as always with Shot 10, good luck. Because you may, as you saw, our opinions pretty much differed on every single race.
Or a good chance we have a winner at least.
Competitiveness level. And the other thing, of course, is really nice about Hong Kong racing is we get full fields.
Yes.
We don't, there's no 5-horse races unless they're an international race or a higher end race. The class 3s and class 4s are always packed.
Well, no matter what it is you're doing for the rest of this day, folks, don't spend all of your money just yet on on Black Friday. Save a few bucks for Sunday for Shot 10. Hopefully, Tom and I, with all of our different picks, one of us has a good day, or both of us have like alternate, or you put all of our picks together, you will likely get something, or just take
win.
ones we didn't pick.
That's all I want to do is just win.
Yes. So no matter what you're doing, man, for the rest of this day, for the rest of this weekend, we certainly hope that you have God's grace, God's blessings, and every single thing you do ends up in
the winter's enclosure.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us today. As always, have a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to get back together again. Take care.